Imagine a library where the most treasured book, a sacred text, is not a single, definitive version, but a collection of fragments and varied manuscripts, each telling a slightly different story. This is the world of the Hebrew Bible, a text that has been copied, translated, and studied for millennia, yet remains shrouded in layers of complexity and mystery. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947 was like finding a time capsule that revealed just how intricate and nuanced the history of this text truly is. This video will explore the journey of the Hebrew Bible from its earliest known manuscripts to the standardized Masoretic text, and the role of ancient translations in shaping our understanding of the original text. The Hebrew Bible, also known as the Old Testament, is a collection of religious texts that are central to Judaism and Christianity. For centuries, the Masoretic Text MT, a standardized version of the Hebrew Bible, has been the primary source for translations and scholarly study. However, the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the mid-20th century challenged the notion that the MT was an unchanging, authoritative text. These scrolls, found in caves near the Dead Sea, contained fragments and complete manuscripts of biblical books that predated the MT by over 1,000 years. They revealed that the biblical text was not static, but had undergone various changes and variations over time. The Dead Sea Scrolls, dating from around 250 BC to 115 CE, provided a unique window into the world of early Judaism and the development of the Hebrew Bible. Among the scrolls were fragments from almost every book of the Hebrew Bible, except for the Book of Esther. What was striking about these texts was their similarity to the MT. Despite the significant time gap, the Dead Sea Scrolls were largely proto-Masoretic, meaning they closely resembled the later standardized text. However, there were also notable differences, such as variations in spelling and minor textual changes. These differences, though small, were significant in the study of textual criticism and the quest to understand the original text. One of the most famous manuscripts from the Dead Sea Scrolls is the Great Isaiah Scroll 1Q Issa, which is nearly complete and is displayed in the Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem. This scroll, along with others, showed that the text of Isaiah was remarkably similar to the MT, with only minor variations. These findings suggested that the process of standardizing the biblical text began much earlier than previously thought, possibly as early as the 2nd century BC. The scrolls also provided evidence that there may have been a single, authoritative copy of the Torah kept in the temple in Jerusalem, which served as the exemplar for other copies. However, the Dead Sea Scrolls also revealed that not all biblical texts were as consistent as Isaiah. The book of Jeremiah, for example, presented a significant challenge. Fragments from Cave 4 at Qumran suggested a much shorter version of Jeremiah compared to the MT. This shorter version was also supported by the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, known as the Septuagint LXX. The LXX, which dates back to the 3rd century BC, was the first translation of the Hebrew Bible into Greek and was widely used by the Jewish community in the Hellenistic world. The LXX version of Jeremiah was about 20% shorter than the MT and had chapters in a different order. This evidence led scholars to conclude that there was a pre-Masoretic edition of Jeremiah that was later expanded and rearranged. The LXX is not the only ancient translation that has contributed to our understanding of the Hebrew Bible. The Old Latin version, the Vulgate, and the Peshitta, a Syriac translation, are other important sources. These translations, while primarily used by Christian communities, provide valuable insights into the textual history of the Hebrew Bible. For example, the Old Latin version, which dates to the 2nd or 3rd century CE, is a translation from the Greek LXX. The Vulgate, completed by Jerome in the late 4th century, is a Latin translation from the Hebrew Old Testament and the Greek New Testament. The Peshitta, a Syriac translation, was likely made directly from the Hebrew in the 2nd century CE. Each of these translations contains variations and readings that can help scholars reconstruct the original Hebrew text. The process of textual criticism involves comparing these various manuscripts and translations to identify the most reliable and original readings. Scholars use a method called retroversion, where they translate the Greek text of the LXX back into Hebrew to reconstruct what the original text might have looked like. This method is particularly useful when the LXX diverges significantly from the MT, as in the case of Jeremiah. However, the process is not without its challenges. The LXX and other ancient translations were not always literal, and the translators sometimes made interpretive decisions that can affect the accuracy of the retroversion. Despite the wealth of evidence from the Dead Sea Scrolls and ancient translations, the quest for the original text of the Hebrew Bible remains elusive. The Hebrew Bible, like any ancient text, has a complex history of transmission and development. The MT, while standardized, is not necessarily the original or most authentic version. The variations found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and other sources suggest that there were multiple editions and traditions of the biblical text. This diversity challenges the idea of a single, authoritative original and highlights the dynamic nature of the text's transmission. In conclusion, the Hebrew Bible is a tapestry of texts, each thread representing a different stage in its development and transmission. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls and the study of ancient translations have enriched our understanding of this complex history. While the quest for the original text may never be fully realized, the journey itself is a testament to the enduring significance and complexity of the Hebrew Bible.